Today's San Francisco 49ers report is sponsored by RexMD, the #1 leader in men's telehealth. You can see for yourself and save today at rexmd.com/chat. We start off our mailbag with this question coming in from the faithful, and it's Matt Keller here. Man, what a loss against the Cleveland Browns. The offense was atrocious, but the defense didn't do all that bad. What will it take to get back to that level that the defense is playing at under DeMeco Ryans? Matt, I honestly have to say, I think the defense has been great this year. They've been one of the best defensive squads in points per game, yards allowed. And I think that this defense, there's not really a lot to worry about. How about the job that Randy Gregory did in his debut in a Niner uniform? I thought that he was really active. Javon Hargrave's kind of been silent over the last couple of weeks. It'd be great to see him get going. Nick Bosa got on the board with what was at the time a clutch sack of P.J. Walker. San Francisco, their defense came to play against Cleveland. To me, it's the offense that was awful in this game for the Niners. Can we take a look at the numbers of what the Niners did after the opening drive? Because that was really telling for me. And I thought that this was going to be another blowout at the start of that football game on Sunday, because San Francisco, working off that script from Kyle Shanahan, they went right down the field after getting the opening kickoff. 5-play, 84-yard drive capped off by Christian McCaffrey's touchdown, his 15th straight game with the touchdown, by the way. After that, 131 yards the rest of the game. The defense was on the field a lot. The defense looked a little bit exhausted. They still came to play. They certainly missed Dre Greenlaw, but for me, Matt Keller, that loss comes down to the offense's inefficiency. G-Code Travels, $2 Super Chat. TB12 won 3 Super Bowls because of Adam Vinatieri. Sign Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould has never missed a kick in his playoff career with Chicago, with San Francisco. He is still out there. The move to move on from him never really made a lot of sense. The Niners have gone all in on 2023 with the moves that they made in free agency, with the moves that they have made so far up to this point in the regular season, bringing in a player like Randy Gregory. It's been rumored they could check in on some other marquee players as we approach the NFL trade deadline on October 31st. Yet they decided to go with a rookie kicker in the 3rd round because they didn't want to pay Robbie Gould the money that he was demanding. You know what matters? If a kicker can make kicks while in the pressure cooker. Robbie Gould can do it, and right now, Jake Moody a little bit spotty. Would not be surprised if Robbie Gould finishes this year as the Niners kicker. I don't think it's going to happen right now, but maybe at some point if Jake Moody's struggles continue. Matt Keller with another 5. What do you think of using Mason to the 50 and then CMC the rest of the way to punch it in through the red zone in the end zone? So I don't like that approach. I think that you just want to have a steady balance of 2 running backs, and I think the top 2 running backs on this team, Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason. Elijah Mitchell does not look right. He doesn't look as explosive. He doesn't look as decisive. And maybe these injuries piling up over time, and maybe right now he's just not 100% healthy. He's trying to play a little bit dinged up to save his role on this football team. But use Christian McCaffrey like you do. He's an unbelievable weapon. But spell him at moments to let him get a breather because his usage is not sustainable for the rest of the year. You can use Jordan Mason on some short yardage. Kyle Shanahan used Christian McCaffrey a lot in some of these short yardage situations. So I think it's kind of a scenario-based type deal. I wouldn't approach it as up to the 50 and then inside the 50 it's different because when you're backed up at your own 20, your own 25, and you can have this explosive play to Christian McCaffrey on the ground or a little screen pass, you want to be able to use a special weapon like that. Before we continue to take more of your questions, today's 49ers report is sponsored by RexMD, the #1 leader in men's telehealth, rexmd.com/chat, 95% off, and if you use that link, you also get a free gift. Let's tell you more about RexMD's FDA-approved ED treatments because look, let's face it, a lot of people are dealing with some issues out there when they enter the bedroom, and with RexMD, you don't have to worry about that any longer. Fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? Do you wish that you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get the medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. Their team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made right here in the USA. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and get up to 95% off with RexMD. A free gift also available with our exclusive link at rexmd.com/chat. Who doesn't love free? We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. Our guy, Gerald Miller. I have ED after that 4th and 10 penalty. Yeah, Gerald, that's actually hilarious working off the RexMD. A lot of us were feeling that way too. We were like, oh my gosh, you think that they're going to get off the field and the officials robbed San Francisco. Officiating wasn't the reason why the Niners lost that game, nor was Jake Moody. It was an all-around awful performance by San Francisco. Listless is a very good word. From the roster to the coaching staff, the preparation to the execution, the officials didn't help out all that much either. It felt as though they were trying to make this a game. Do we have that other one from Gerald Miller as well? We can get to that too. Most cap space in the league, but have a rookie kicker. Who knew that would come back to bite us? We literally talked about it all offseason, especially after that Raiders preseason loss, when Josh McDaniels iced Jake Moody. And he missed 2 kicks and didn't just miss them, he missed them bad. And that's really what doesn't make a lot of sense, Gerald. Kicking is very important. I understand Robbie Gould's getting a little bit older. You want to start to try to groom a young kicker at some point. But do you want to groom a young kicker when you know that most likely you're going to be playing in some intense playoff games and you don't know if you have a kicker who's young, who's going to be able to do the job? Man, that grinds my gears. Bulls Nation. Should San Francisco look into bringing in another running back or wide receiver with the Deebo McCaffrey injuries out, in my opinion, James Robinson, as well as T.Y. Hilton? I think there's better options out there than James Robinson and T.Y. Hilton. If the Niners really want to make a big splash, how about a Devontae Adams trade? You want to go a little bit lower? How about a Hunter Renfrow trade? Running back, Josh Jacobs, does that appeal to anybody out there? Expiring contract, you don't have to worry about him after this year. Saves Christian McCaffrey a little bit. You want to go lower tier, you could bring in a player like a James Conner. A Kenneth Gainwell for the Philadelphia Eagles isn't getting a lot of run because DeAndre Swift has emerged as their number 1 running back. Or you can just use Jordan Mason a little bit more. Elijah Mitchell just doesn't look right, though. And if McCaffrey goes down, then you're thin at that running back spot. So I would not rule out that move going into the NFL trade deadline. Drippy Sports. Let's trade Moody and Hufanga for Justin Tucker. I would not trade Talanoa Hufanga for Justin Tucker. I know I just got done talking about the importance of having a legitimate kicker who's not scared of the moment, but I'm not trading him away and sending away Talanoa Hufanga for Justin Tucker. Hufanga is a special player who's critical to this defense's success, and the Ravens aren't going to trade away Justin Tucker. They're a really good team, and they need a clutch kicker as well. Chua, should we trade for a cornerback? Among all positions on this Niners roster, I think trading for a cornerback is the most realistic move that the Niners might make, and I think that they're doing their due diligence. They were looking at one of the corners for the Chicago Bears. I think that's a name to keep an eye out for, Jalen Johnson. Patrick Surtain is obviously the name that, I have like the heart emoji eyes when I talk about a player like that. Steven Nelson for the Houston Texans could be very, very affordable. Maybe Washington decides to sell. Let's wait to see over the next 2 weeks what teams decide to sell. Jeremy Chin, he can play nickel, he can play safety. That's another player to kind of look out for as well. John Devon, I don't have money to donate, but currently sitting in the hospital diagnosed with cancer. Can I get a Bang Bang Niner Gang chant, please? Dude, so my mom passed away from cancer in 2018. This is a subject matter that is very close to me. I want to send you prayers. I want to send you good vibes. I want to send you strength. I want to send you a quick recovery. Really appreciate you for watching the show. And look, when people can't donate to the show, it doesn't mean that you don't support the program. You watching, you commenting, you being a part of the program and getting that question in or that comment in this instance, that supports the show. Liking the video, subscribing, that supports the show for free. We appreciate all of it, And John, I hope that you're able to kick cancer's ass. I'll give you a San Francisco and a bang, bang, Niner gang. Continue that recovery, my guy, and please continue to check in here on the show. We care about you. For Corona, Moody was so nervous. What do you think is going to happen with his confidence? He kind of had that deer in the headlights type of look yesterday, and he pushed the 41-yarder. And what's so bothersome about that is that Brock Purdy did a great job of having a short mindset, a short memory. He drives the Niners down the field. He gets you into field goal range. And what happens? He makes those good throws after having not done anything, zilch, since that first drive. And that was a moment of growth for Brock Purdy. We haven't seen him in that situation a lot, where he has to come from behind, potential go-ahead, game-winning drive, because San Francisco, while he's been the starter, 10-0 up until Sunday, they had been so dominant. So we got to see Brock Purdy facing some adversity. He didn't crumble. The unfortunate thing is Jake Moody did kind of crumble. His entire family was at Cleveland Brown Stadium, and it didn't end well for the Moody fam. Valen, I feel like the offensive line got hosed in the second half. Do we make a trade to get some depth? Man, the offensive line was awful against Cleveland, and here's my issue with this team, and I've talked about this a lot as well. Last year, what happened against the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles? The Niners' offensive line got handled in the trenches. And going into this year, I needed the Niners and wanted the Niners to bulk up that offensive line. They didn't do it in the draft. They didn't do it in free agency. They're like in the bottom third, bottom half of offensive line spending. And in the playoffs, when they get deep, if they get deep, they're going to be going up against some really tough defenses and some really stout defensive lines, like the Cleveland Browns have, like the Philadelphia Eagles have. And if you can't block and you can't pass protect and you can't open up lanes for your rushers like they couldn't do yesterday, that's what will keep you from your ultimate goal. I'd love to see them address offensive line, but how many times do we see like a star right tackle traded at the NFL trade deadline? It doesn't happen a lot because teams always value offensive line play, sometimes more so than the San Francisco 49ers, which is very, very frustrating. So are you concerned about the Niners? Are you concerned? Just give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Where is the fan base at going into Week 7 of the 2023 season?